I'm Jane King at the NASDAQ. When Saturday Night Live makes fun of your business, you know it's not a good sign. I'll tell you which company is making a big change.
I'm Patricia Wu with the New York Stock Exchange. We'll talk about the slowdown in China and its impact on small-cap multinationals.
I'm Remy Blair in San Francisco. Earnings and IPOs are taking center stage, but Big Pharma is seeing blood on the street. Is it all doom and gloom? Let's take a closer look at some small-cap names.
Hello and welcome to Small Cap Nation. I'm Jane King at the NASDAQ market site in Times Square. Men's Warehouse and its Joseph A. Bank stores are finally ending the buy one, get three free sales. The infamous promotion, which was even parodied on Saturday Night Live, will end after the current sale, which starts today. Men's Warehouse says the promotion wasn't even good for business. Its sales were down more than 9% over the past year. Men's Warehouse won't completely abandon sales, however, but says the new approach will be to give guys good deals on one suit. Well, shares of Callaway Golf hitting a rough patch. The company reported a third quarter net loss of $3.6 million or 4 cents per share. The president and CEO, Chip Brewer, said the company has made progress this year with new products that are performing well in the marketplace. Brewer said improving fundamentals in the golf industry, fueled in part by renewed interest in professional golf, has led to higher equipment prices and less need for promotions. Well, Relypsa is higher, and in fact, it's one of the highest volume stocks on Wall Street today. The Food and Drug Administration approved Relypsa's drug to treat potentially fatal levels of potassium in patients with chronic kidney disease or heart problems. The drug is called Veltassa. It's designed to treat hyperkalemia. That's a chronic condition characterized by excessive potassium levels in the blood that could lead to dangerous changes in heart rhythm. Veltassa is a powder that patients mix with water and take orally. Well, we are in the thick of earnings season and small cap stocks are moving. Here's a rundown. Penn National reported revenue and earnings higher than last year. Cabela's third quarter results missed expectations. Sempra reported a loss that was far bigger than estimates. FNB's earnings were in line with expectations. TFC Financial declared a new dividend. Apollo Education, the parent company of the University of Phoenix Online, missed on both earnings and enrollment. And Sallie Mae beat analyst estimates. Also, MSA Safety said the stronger U.S. dollar and weakness in emerging markets and the energy industry caused third quarter profits to fall 17%. Sensia Technologies issued a new dividend for 27 cents a share. Well, SolarWinds is soaring after the green energy company said it will be bought by a private equity firm, Silver Lake, for $4.5 billion. SolarWinds software is used by information technology professionals to configure, monitor, and report on the health and performance of their network systems and applications. Well, the IPO environment continues to be tough for small cap companies. Multi-Packaging Solutions downsized its offering to 16.5 million shares, priced at $13, below the expected range. Dimension Therapeutics also priced below the range at $13. I know Asmia Pharmaceuticals is cautiously selling an unknown amount of shares between $5.75 and $7.75 per share. That's some of the big stories making news today. Let's take you down to Wall Street. Patricia Wu and Alan Valdez join us from the New York Stock Exchange floor. Guys, what's the story down there today?
Hi, Jane. I'm here with Alan Valdez, and today we're talking about China and its slowdown earlier this week. We heard it missed its 7% growth target, but when you're looking at their small caps, you wouldn't know that anything is wrong.
No, you wouldn't. The small caps are performing great. They're actually up about 35% since mid-September when we had that major crash in China, as opposed to the blue chips over there, which are only up about 12%.
So do you think this rally has legs then?
You know, it could, because a couple of reasons right here. Right now, the small caps are basically domestic held in China, the domestic companies. And they're not affected by the strong dollar, where the big blue chip multinationals that trade also on the big blue chip Shanghai index are affected by the strong dollar. So you could see a more rapid increase in price share as opposed to big cap, small cap. So yeah, I think the rally here on the small caps can continue.
Now, historically, the last quarter of the year, we see the equities get a little bit of a boost. Now, do you think this is going to happen particularly with small caps because of the retail investors?
Yeah, but also a couple of things. Not only retail investors, but small caps tend to be stocks that people can get involved in for the holiday season. I mean, it's definitely something where people can say, okay, let me go out and buy a small cap stock for whatever reason now. And you can see that trade go on the tape more so than going out and buying Apple or IBM or something like that, some major corporation. So yeah, I think it continues through the season, and also tax benefits. A lot of people could be rolling out of taxes, rolling into something else, and you'll see that rotation in small caps.
But this rally could be China specific, where you won't necessarily see this across the board with small cap multinationals because of these global growth concerns, especially China.
Right, and actually we're seeing it also in the small cap multinational. We're seeing Harley Davidson, for instance. Harley Davidson sales are down big, mainly because of global sales, and global profits are both down, and that's because of the strong dollar. So even though it's an American company, it's being affected by the Chinese slowdown and the strong dollar.
Thank you so much for your insight as always, Alan.
Some big winners and losers this week in the small cap biotech space. We'll give you the rundown from San Francisco when Small Cap Nation continues.
Guys, I got the jerseys. El Nino. Aquí. Spray Dan.
Oh, yeah.
Don Ovan.
Think that's me?
You guy. It's $40. Can you cover that?
I'll send it to you right now. Done.
Okay, got it. So Hat-Trick Rick, he's the best player on our team. You get the ball, you give it to him.
Great. Rick.
On your phone, online, on the go, Wells Fargo makes it easy to get banking done.
All right, Don, you're on. Nope, just kidding.
Doug, you've been staring at that for a while, huh? Listen, TD Ameritrade has former floor traders to help walk you through that complex trade, so you'll be confident enough to do what you want. I'll pull up their number. Blammo. Let's get those guys on the horn. Ooh. Looks like it is time to upgrade your phone, Douglas.
For all the confidence you need, TD Ameritrade. You got this.
Let's go, Serena. Fight. Come on, fight. Stay low. Come on, Serena.
Back to the top. Here we go. 2, 4, 5, 6. Whoa, stop. Let's go back. 1, 2. Whoa, we're going to stop there. I bet we can do it even better.
It took tennis legend Serena Williams, fencing champion Tim Morehouse, and the world-famous Rockettes years to master their craft. But it took them only moments to master paying bills at Chase.com, depositing checks at Chase ATMs, and transferring funds on the mobile app. Technology designed for you, so you can easily master the way you bank.
The broader market is keeping a close eye on the healthcare sector. Some big names in pharmaceuticals getting dragged lower this week. What about some of the action in small caps?
The market is paying attention to headlines and earnings today, but the sell-off in biotech this week has plenty of people focused on Valiant and Bluebird Bio. It's not a normal market in biotech, and it doesn't take much for market players to get skittish. On Thursday, the top gainers and losers are in healthcare and biotech. Small cap names seeing strong gains include Zafgen and Accorda Therapeutics, Vascular Biogenics, and ZS Pharma. As for the top losers, Relypsa, Supernus Pharmaceuticals, LifePoint Health, and Sempra are in the red.
We mentioned some of the small cap market movers earlier this week. Are there any updates?
Jane, there is a key update for one small cap we mentioned earlier this week. That's why we're seeing Zafgen post a double-digit percentage gain. Last week, the FDA told the biotech company to temporarily suspend trials of its obesity drug candidate. This came after a patient died. Now, the company has announced plans to analyze data from its trials before the FDA's hold. Now it has a clinical update on beloranib. Zafgen says that a sufficient number of patients have completed randomized treatment in both clinical trials to assess the efficacy of beloranib and help inform next steps for the beloranib program. Zafgen also says that based on consultation with the FDA, its trial in patients with a rare disease called Prader-Willi syndrome will form the basis of an application for approval of the drug in those patients as originally planned. The results of that trial will help determine the design of a second late-stage trial in patients. The FDA has agreed to consider the results of the first trial.
Well, safety is paramount in clinical trials. Zafgen shares may be higher today, but is it all good news for the biotech firm?
That's a good point. When it comes to safety for the product candidate, Zafgen says the cause of death of the beloranib patient based on the death certificate has been determined as respiratory failure. However, it's not known if this event was related to the treatment with beloranib. Zafgen and its CEO have been named as defendants in a lawsuit filed in the state of Massachusetts. The company and the executive have been sued for allegedly violating federal security laws. The lawsuit alleges that the defendants made misleading representations about thrombotic adverse events in previous clinical trials. Until October 16th, the company had only disclosed 2 thrombotic adverse events in one prior clinical trial.
Straight ahead, we take you to Europe and what IPOs are happening in the small cap space. Stay with us. You're watching Small Cap Nation.
Good. Very good. You see something moving off the shelves, and your first thought is to investigate the company. You are type E. Yes, investment opportunities can be anywhere. Or not. But you know the difference.
E-Trade's barcode scanner. Shorten the distance between intuition and action. E-Trade. Opportunity is...
Before they sat down, one more time, just for themselves. Before the last grandchild graced the stage. Before Katie and her husband hit that rough patch. Before Kevin finally came home and the first grandchild arrived. Before the sons-in-law, daughters-in-law, and Brad's brief brush with the law. Before the second British invasion. Before Katie, Debbie, Kevin, and Brad. Before they became a family. There was a connection that started it all and made the future the wonderful thing it turned out to be. We know we're not the center of your life, but we'll do our best to help you connect to what is.
Sometimes the present looked bright, sometimes romantic. There were tears in my eyes, and tears in my eyes. And so many little things that we learned were really the biggest things. Through it all, we saved and had a retirement plan, and someone who listened and helped us along the way. Because we always knew that someday the future would be the present.
Every someday needs a plan. Talk with us about your retirement today.
As we continue our global look at markets, Graham Brown is in Paris with the latest from Europe.
Well, Jane, after Ferrari, it's back to the real world. This week's experience for IPO has been mixed. The City of London Group shares, which joined the AIM on Tuesday at a price of 27.5 against the target of 30, was not too bad considering the uncertainties. And on Wednesday we had another IPO for Evgen Pharma, a clinical stage drug development company, which was actually oversubscribed and managed to bring the share price in at 37 pence, but fell back some 10% during the day, giving the company a market capitalization of around 27 million. We will get a much better view of European appetite for IPOs next week. We have a number of IPOs scheduled in all of the major markets, so that will be more interesting. In the meantime, an interesting float privatization currently on the roadshow circuit is the Italian Post Office, Posta Italiana. Whilst postal services globally really are suffering, losing business, and Posta Italiana only has a low percentage of the parcel markets in Italy, which is where many of the postal services are making up their trade. What makes this special is the Poste Italiane's position as Italy's most trusted financial intermediary. It's got a presence in every town pretty well, with some 13,200 branches. And its main revenues, in fact, come from financial services about 19-20%, and more importantly, insurance sales. So an interesting possibility. More coverage in the future when we get closer to an IPO date.
Well, Graham, what are we looking at in the small cap world today in Europe?
All eyes really on the ECB meeting, away from chilly Frankfurt in the pleasant sunny island of Malta. No rate changes were expected, and that's how it's turned out pretty well. It was the press conference really that everyone was looking at for clues, every word being analysed and dissected. Rather shades of the Greenspan days at the Fed. There's a man who could speak a lot and say very little. Apparently inflation still dominates ECB concerns, balancing those concerns between slow internal growth and external influences result no real change in the QE asset purchase programs, indications that we're waiting till December, over to the Fed maybe, which meets after the ECB, so maybe even over to January. It will be late for European markets to react, so really we'll know more tomorrow with the opening as to how the markets feel about it all, but it seems to be continuing really not much clear direction. All markets other than the UK have risen again so far today, particularly Germany is looking stronger, and that looks like they'll be getting back to a close slightly up on the week for the end of the week. In the UK, retail sales for September came in much higher than expected, 5.9% instead of 4.7%. That indicates an increase in consumer confidence, but the FTSE still ran flat, so there we are. And we have a number of key production indicators due out tomorrow with the MCI reports. More tomorrow.
Another mover in the biotech space as one company is seeking big swings in price. What does this mean for investors? We'll have the breakdown when Small Cap Nation returns.
Everyone works hard for a reason. Working together, we can help you prepare financially for when 2 becomes 3. Wells Fargo. Together we'll go far.
You want to be the best investor you can be. You want to cut through the noise of an overwhelming amount of analysis. You want the insights that will help you decide which ideas to execute and which to leave behind. You want your trades executed in 1 second or less, guaranteed and routed with institutional quality technology. Look no further. Open an account and find more of the expertise you need to be a better investor.
When I got the phone call that we had received the grant, I held my breath.
To have a program like this is a big reward.
Being a Chase Mission Main Street grant recipient is a game changer.
One of the biggest surprises in starting a small business is the number of hours we should work for the first 20 years.
One of the great things about this grant is that it is going to let us invest in some additional inventories.
It's going to allow this business to go to the next level.
Being a recipient of this grant, we can't be thankful enough.
It's a dream come true, and I'm still in awe.
In the small cap world, high volume and sudden market action can make or break a company. In the healthcare space, Neogenomics is seeing big swings in price. Why the volatility?
Neogenomics hit 52-week highs in the previous session and also spiked in volume. Today's shares of the NASDAQ-listed company are off slightly. The medical and diagnostics lab company acquired Clarient from GE Healthcare's life sciences business for $275 million. Now, Neogenomics will acquire Clarient for $80 million in cash, $110 million in preferred stock, and 50 million shares of Neogenomics common stock. The company aims to boost its offering of cancer diagnostics to hospitals and physicians across the country. It also aims to increase its growth for clinical trials and research.
What does the deal mean for investors?
Well, for Neogenomics, the acquisition helps lower operating costs. Clarient's pathology services and Neogenomics' molecular capabilities for testing cancer will help leverage productivity. Neogenomics has a market cap of a little over $428 million. The combined companies are expected to create a more diversified provider of precision oncology diagnostics. And the latest deal has the potential to shift Neogenomics' position in the market. The finer details of the cash and stock deal are key. For starters, Clarient's revenue came in at $127 million, and Neogenomics posted $87 million in revenue last year. For 2016, the combined companies are expecting revenue to grow between $240 to $250 million. The company also expects to gain modest synergies over time that could eventually reach as high as $20 to $30 million. Now, it is apparent that GE sees a future for Neogenomics. It could convert its preferred stock into common stock and potentially become a major stakeholder in the firm.
Of course, investors care about the bottom line, but what does this mean for the world of cancer diagnostics?
Well, according to Neogenomics chairman and CEO, he says both companies will collaborate on a new bioinformatics initiative that will explore the potential for new products. Now, those products will sorry about that. Okay, this is the last question. Okay. Well, according to Neogenomics chairman and CEO, he says both companies will collaborate on a new bioinformatics initiative, and that initiative will explore potential for new products. And those products will combine genomic and imaging data. The company's vision is to become a premier cancer testing laboratory, so the latest acquisition could definitely be a step in the right direction.
Up next, we take you back to the NYSE and Patricia Wu, where she is talking to traders about what they are seeing in the small cap space.
Guys, I got the jerseys. El Nino. Aquí. Spray Dan.
Oh, yeah.
Don Ovan.
Think that's me?
You guy. It's $40. Can you cover that?
I'll send it to you right now. Done.
Okay, got it. So Hat-Trick Rick, he's the best player on our team. You get the ball, you give it to him.
Great. Rick.
On your phone, online, on the go, Wells Fargo makes it easy to get banking done.
All right, Don, you're on. Nope, just kidding.
Doug, you've been staring at that for a while, huh? Listen, TD Ameritrade has former floor traders to help walk you through that complex trade, so you'll be confident enough to do what you want. I'll pull up their number. Blammo. Let's get those guys on the horn. Ooh. Looks like it is time to upgrade your phone, Douglas.
For all the confidence you need, TD Ameritrade. You got this.
Let's go, Serena. Fight, fight. Come on, fight. Can't stop me now. Come on, Serena.
Back to the top. Here we go. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Whoa, stop. Let's go back. 1, 2. Whoa, we're going to stop there. I bet we can do it even better.
It took tennis legend Serena Williams, fencing champion Tim Morehouse, and the world-famous Rockettes years to master their craft. But it took them only moments to master paying bills at Chase.com, depositing checks at Chase ATMs, and transferring funds on the mobile app. Technology designed for you, so you can easily master the way you bank.
Welcome back to Small Cap Nation. I'm Patricia Wu at the New York Stock Exchange. I'm here with Tim Anderson of TJM Investments. So what's going on? We had 3 weeks of gains, then things were a little tentative, and now it looks like the ECB and earnings have things off to a good start.
Certainly today, the market is acting like it acted a couple of weeks ago. And I think part of that is that healthcare and biotech acts a lot better than it did yesterday. They were under tremendous pressure, mainly because of the sharp sell-off in Valiant yesterday and some valuation issues within the biotech sector. And clearly today from the Draghi press conference, there's some more enthusiasm that he may really open the floodgates in terms of liquidity in going into the end of the fourth quarter.
So where do you think we go from here?
Well, it's very tough because we're really kind of right at a critical resistance level for a lot of the broad market indices. And some have been acting a little bit better than others, but we've gotten through that intraday high from September 17th, which was the Fed day a little over a month ago. We've got a Fed meeting at the end of next week. So I doubt that we're going to make a major move before then. But I do think the market's okay going into at least mid-November. This Japan post office IPO is a huge deal for the global markets everywhere, a huge deal for Japan. It's been delayed a couple of times in the last few years, and I think the markets are going to stabilize themselves until at least that deal clears.
So how do you play this, if short-term and long-term?
Well, I think it depends on what kind of an investor you are. And if you're a long-term investor, you really want to look at some of the momentum stocks that have gotten beat up through the August and September sell-off that still have very strong growth prospects going forward. It may exclude some of the oil stocks. Oil's having a real hard time holding the gains that it had 3 weeks ago, struggling to get back to through the $50 level. But if you're a long-term investor, you're definitely going to be looking at growth stocks that had good momentum for most of the year. If you're a retirement, looking at your retirement funds and opportunities there, you're probably going to be looking at utilities and REITs, many of which are high-quality names that yield 3 to 5%, which is well above what you would get on the 2-year Treasury at 2%.
Thank you so much for joining us today.
In buy, sell, hold actions today, Fossil Group was rated new market perform at Wells Fargo. Kate Spade also rated new market perform at Wells Fargo. Market Access rose to outperform at Keefe Bruyette, and True Blue was raised to outperform at Robert Baird. Thanks for joining us on Small Cap Nation, and we'll see you back here tomorrow. Until then, check back for the latest news and research on smallcapnation.com, Facebook, and Twitter.